literature, the most colorful and most fun is the picture books series. This is Dave Miller and Ashley Rager. Our picture book author is Bill Peet. Bill Peet was always impacting children's entertainment as an artist, cartoonist, Disney artist, movie writer, children's author, and illustrator. Bill created numerous realistic and fanciful creatures for children to enjoy. Bill grew up in his grandma's house on the edge of Indianapolis, Indiana. Their house was a quick 10-minute walk from the countryside with farms, creeks, and railroad tracks, all favorites of young Bill. When not outside, he spent hours drawing all the things that he had seen in his adventures in the family attic. His childhood was a happy one until his father, who they hadn't seen for years, started showing up periodically at the beginning of the Depression and demanding money. Following the death of his grandmother, they moved a lot. In high school, his doodling and drawing took form, and art classes helped carry him through school, allowing him to receive a scholarship to John Herron Art Institute in Indianapolis. At John Herron, he met the woman he would be married to for over 60 years. During this period, he won second place in the arts section of the Indiana State Fair. The Disney years were a mixed bag. Bill replied to an ad for Disney and drove clear across the country to try out. Though he was promoted, Bill was known as the voice of dissent among Walt Disney's crew of yes-men. This led to great success, but also great stress. He drew fill-in art, joined motion picture crews, suggested film ideas, and took a lead role in hit films. Bill left the company on his 49th birthday after a heated argument with Walt Disney over the Jungle Book. Bill was a major contributor in many Disney films: Pinocchio, The Jungle Book, Cinderella, Dumbo, Sleeping Beauty, Fantasia, and others.
Meanwhile, Bill had been building a sideline career as a children's author and illustrator. He left Disney after 27 years to write full-time. This is his family's pet capybara, named Cappy Boppy, also the title of one of his books. Here is an illustration from the book Cappy Boppy. Capybaras are excellent swimmers. Although he wrote 36 books, reflecting his love of trains, farms, and circuses from his Indiana youth, he truly had a profound impact on children's literature and movies. He was awarded the Calder honor. He was cutting edge in discussing human impact on the environment. His books have positive messages. Evaluating quality picture books. Bill Peet uses a variety of familiar and unfamiliar words to embrace the reader and listener's understanding of what they know and extend them toward what they have yet to learn. Bill Peet chose not to dumb down the word choices in his stories, but he was able to include enough text and illustrations to make meaning of the difficult words for his young readers. Bill Peet was able to use his illustrations to enhance the text. This created a better understanding of the story and details not mentioned in the text. Bill Peet chose to create stories that readers were interested in, and some stories that readers could relate to, discuss details, and express feelings, whether those feelings being they could relate to or feelings about the book itself. The ultimate evaluation. Are children engaged? Are children interested in the entertained? Are children encouraged to continue and enjoy reading more? Bill Peet was able to check all three items off. Writing and vocabulary techniques. Bill Peet used a variety of writing techniques and methods when it came to his stories. In many of Bill Peet's books, rhyming is the choice of technique. Some include made-up words and places, and others are just fun play on words. For example, hermit to hermit, the pinkish purplish bluish egg, and the caboose who got loose. In Chester, the worldly pig, and Eli, Bill used literary devices such as similes, metaphors, character development, and crafty dialogue. Bill Peet used words that children had to decipher by the surrounding text and illustrations. He chose to not dumb down his work, but to challenge his readers. Life after Disney. Bill spent most of his time creating and illustrating children's books depicting true events, morals, and lessons, which aids in his recognition as a children's author. The Womp World raised awareness of environmental problems. Hermit the Hermit, caring and giving and sharing. Happy Boppy was based on true events. Bill Peet developed many of his now famous stories from bedtime stories that he had told his children. The children also have parts of the stories which make them more special for Peet. Bill Peet, an autobiography, was awarded a Caldecott honor in 1990 for the quality of his illustrations. Bill Peet died of old age on May 11, 2002. He was 87 years old. Bill Peet was a wonderful artist and author. He lived a fulfilling life with a few hills and bumps along the way. However, those minor setbacks allowed him to create some of the most memorable and adored children's books. Bill Peet will be remembered through his beautiful drawings, his creative writing, and meaningful stories that captured real-life events, stories, lessons, and many more. We've provided a list of Bill Peet's books and really hope you choose to read one for yourself or for a child. They are wonderful stories with great pictures.
Big things can come from little helpers. It doesn't matter what size you are, you can have an impact and help others. Here is an excerpt from The Gnats of Notting Hill. While the animals were all in a wild-eyed frenzy, the hunters were as calm as could be and ever so quiet. They knew that wild things have good ears and hoped to catch them by surprise. This was the first rule of the game, and as the men headed up the slope toward the forest, they walked very softly and talked in whispers, with their rifles all set for a shot. They were just a few yards away from the first clump of trees when all of a sudden, out of the grass swarmed great clouds of gnats, billions of them, and leading each cloud was a fearless flight commander shouting orders. Go for the heads! Go for the faces! Go for the eyes! Buzz 'em, drive 'em bats! Go gnats! Go gnats! Go, go, go! Now the hunters were the ones caught by surprise. The gnat attack was so sudden and so blinding the hunters were sent staggering back on their heels. As the last sheep disappeared in the distance, the gnats formed a big V for victory, then let out a rousing cheer that could be heard for at least 20 feet. Among the response activities that we were interested in, here is one from one of the more interesting books, The Wingding-Dilly. A wingding-dilly is a made-up animal where a dog named Scamp, who was jealous of the neighbor's horse and wished to be more and wished to be admired as a fine animal. Scamp runs away from his owner to the woods and meets a witch, who he asks to turn him into a beautiful horse. And instead, the witch turns him into a wingding-dilly, a combination animal that includes an elephant, a giraffe, a camel, a rhinoceros, a moose, and a zebra. Scamp is, of course, famous and has the recognition he sought, but for his odd physique. He was chased and hunted. He soon realized he was happier before and misses his home. He wishes he could return to being an ordinary dog again. He is chased away by his owners, afraid he is a monster. After more tribulations, Scamp is finally turned back into an ordinary brown dog. Upon returning to his home and ordinary life, he realizes that he is happy with who he is and with his life as he had it before. As with all of Bill Peet books, there is a lesson to be learned. The process would be for each person to design their own wingding dilly. What animal parts would you include and why? Can you make an animal that has the attributes of many and can use the various parts to become a more efficient creature? What attributes would be useful in eating, seeing, escaping, hiding, traveling, or protecting oneself? We have included 12 of Bill Peet's books with information that will get you a head start on your book bibs. Good luck, and we hope that you enjoy some of Bill Peet's books.